The call from my mom came in the middle of my own birthday party, her voice buzzing through the speaker about when I was finally going to settle down. All my friends' eyes immediately darted to Chloe, a mix of humor and expectation. But Chloe didn't react at all. The group started cheering, a low-key do it, and I was about to reach into my pocket for the ring I'd been carrying for months. But then Chloe's brow furrowed. Without a word, she got up and left the room. My hand froze in my pocket. I forced a laugh that felt brittle in the suddenly quiet air. "It's over, Chloe. I'm letting you go." I waved my hands, trying to keep the party from dying. Hey, knock it off, you guys. Chloe just told me something urgent came up. She had to take off. Let's just keep this going, I said, trying to sound cheerful. My best friend, Leo, was the first to jump in, sensing my desperation. "All right, you heard the man. Let's keep it moving. It's Ethan's birthday. No buzzkills allowed." Just like that, the music swelled and the chatter picked back up. I sank onto a bar stool, and Leo threw an arm around my shoulder. "Hey man, is she okay?" My bad. I shouldn't have started that chant. Chloe's always been kind of shy about that stuff. I just shook my head and threw back my whiskey. As the liquor burned its way down, my throat felt tight and raw. When we graduated college, everyone assumed Chloe and I would get married right away. We were inseparable back then, practically joined at the hip. The way she used to look at me, her eyes full of this incredible light, she'd talk about the home we were going to build together. She used to say that meeting me was the luckiest thing that had ever happened to her. But that was 3 years ago. We weren't married. We weren't even engaged. Lately, it felt like she was actively running from the idea. After the party wound down, I tried calling Chloe, but it went straight to voicemail. A second later, a text from her popped up. "Jason called. Something blew up at the studio." I took the car. "You'll have to get an Uber home." "Got it," I typed back. I glanced at my call log. 54 unanswered calls to her number. I knew she wouldn't pick up, but I kept trying anyway, just to hear her voice on the voicemail greeting. It had been so long since we'd had a real conversation. She was either coming home late, after I was already asleep, or not coming home at all. And even when she did, the first words out of her mouth were always, "Jason and I landed the new client," or "Jason and I finally cracked the design." It was always Jason this, Jason that. She'd tell me everything they did together with this unnerving transparency, like she was proud of it. It was her version of honesty. But that was never what I wanted. My own girlfriend, unable to go 3 sentences without mentioning another man's name. I don't think any guy would be okay with that. I tried to convince myself I was just being sensitive, but my gut told me otherwise. So I finally worked up the nerve to talk to her about it. I can still remember her response. So calm and measured it made my jealousy feel childish and absurd. "He's my business partner, Ethan. You know the studio wouldn't even exist if he hadn't co-founded it with me. You're a grown man. Why are you being so insecure?" I drank way too much. I was wandering, the city lights blurring together, when a voice cut through the fog. "Hey, kid, your girlfriend not with you tonight?" I looked up and recognized the glowing sign of a food truck. It was the place Chloe and I used to go to all the time back in college. The owner, a friendly old guy named Sal, knew us by name. I managed a weak smile. "Hey, Sal, can I get the usual?" "You got it," he boomed. Well, I took the first bite of the grilled cheese. It tasted exactly the same. The same perfect crunch, the same gooey mess of cheese. But the person I'd always shared it with was gone. A wave of confusion washed over me. Maybe I was rushing things. Even if I had proposed, and even if she had said yes. What then? Would anything really change? Would our life together just be this? Was it the kind of marriage I really wanted? The next morning, I woke up to a video forwarded from Leo. It came with a simple message. "Dude, are you sure she still wants to marry you?" It was a clip of Chloe dropping Jason off at his apartment complex. By sheer coincidence, Leo lived in the same building. I watched the video, my face completely blank. I felt nothing. I just typed back, "They're just business partners." Honestly, a video like that should have sent me into a rage. But this time it didn't. Maybe I was just used to it. Just then my phone rang. It was Chloe. "The studio's having a celebration dinner tonight. I'll swing by and pick you up. We could go together." Her voice was soft, the way it used to be. I should have been thrilled, but I hesitated. She never invited me to her studio. She made it clear she didn't want me involved in that part of her life. This sudden invitation felt like a peace offering. "Look, something really did come up at the studio yesterday," she said, her voice laced with apology. I'm sorry I couldn't be there for your birthday. And there it was. Chloe always knew exactly how to handle me. She'd placate me just enough to make me feel like I couldn't complain. Every single time I tried to have a serious conversation about her problems, she'd smooth things over with a quick apology. Then if I tried to push the issue, she'd give me that look. The one that said, I already said I was sorry. What more do you want? What she never understood was that you can't just apologize for a problem and expect it to go away. You have to actually fix it. Okay, I finally said. The line went dead a second later. I went to my closet and pulled out a deep navy suit, something I hadn't worn in years. Staring at myself in the mirror, I barely recognized the guy looking back. As the time for her to pick me up got closer, I didn't feel any excitement, just a growing sense of irritation. The suit felt tight across my shoulders, restrictive. It wasn't me. I went downstairs to wait. Mrs. Gable from 3B was walking her poodle and did a double take when she saw me. My goodness, Ethan, you clean up nice. I almost didn't recognize you. I gave her a polite smile. I checked my watch. She was already late. After another 15 minutes, I gave up, looked up the address she'd sent, and called an Uber. The party was at a slick rooftop bar downtown. When I arrived, it was already in full swing. People were clustered in laughing groups. Some were even dancing. Standing there alone, I felt completely out of place. An intruder. I didn't know a single person. Awkwardly, I found an empty table in a corner and sat down. That's when I saw them. On a small, makeshift stage at the far end of the terrace, Chloe was walking up to a microphone, her arm linked with Jason's. They took turns speaking, delivering a toast to their team. They moved in perfect sync, their banter effortless. They had the entire crowd captivated. When they finished, the applause was thunderous. And as I sat there watching them, I didn't feel a single pang of jealousy or anger. All I could think was how good they looked together, how perfectly they fit. After the toast, Chloe and Jason came down to mingle. They started working their way through the crowd, and soon they were near my corner, but a cluster of people blocked me from her view. A young guy, who looked like a new hire, raised his glass with a grin. So, Chloe, when do we get a toast to you? And Jason tying the knot. An awkward silence fell over the group. The kid was clearly out of the loop. Everyone else at the studio knew Chloe had a boyfriend, and it wasn't Jason. But now that the question was out there, all the older employees were watching, eager to see how this would play out. Jason just smiled, his hand instinctively resting on the small of Chloe's back. Chloe didn't pull away. Instead, she addressed the new guy with a smooth, practiced voice. This is Jason Cole, the studio's co-founder and my most trusted partner. From now on, you can call him Mr. Cole. With that, she guided Jason away from the group. The veteran employees exchanged meaningful glances, some even snickering. Watching the whole scene unfold, I felt a profound sense of boredom. I pulled out my phone and saw a string of missed calls and texts from Chloe. It had been too loud to hear them come in. The team insisted Jason and I give the toast. We were just writing it. Lost track of time. Are you here yet? Why aren't you answering your phone or texts? If you didn't want to come, you should have just said so. I wasn't begging you. Fine, don't bother coming. I read the messages, then glanced back at Chloe and Jason laughing with a client. A genuine laugh escaped my lips. It was strange. I wasn't jealous at all. I just felt tired. This was all so pointless. A hand clapped down on my shoulder. Hey, want to get out of here? Go grab a real drink. I turned to see Leo grinning at me. What are you doing here? I asked, surprised. Leo gestured across the room with his chin. My friend works here. Came with her. I didn't ask any more questions. I just nodded. I couldn't spend another minute in that place. On the way to the bar, Leo didn't say a word. He just let me drink, matching me round for round. Finally, after he was a few whiskeys in, he spoke. This isn't you, man. I looked at him, confused. I saw everything back there at the party, he continued. The old Ethan never would have just sat there and taken that. I took another long pull from my glass. He was right. He picked up my phone from the bar. It's 3 a.m., dude. She hasn't called, hasn't texted. She's not worried about you at all. She's probably just busy. I mumbled. I don't know if Leo even heard me. He ignored it anyway. He looked me up and down, his eyes narrowed. You know, that suit just doesn't work on you. I looked down at myself. It was a perfectly good suit, tailored and everything. But he was right. It felt wrong. What are you talking about? It's a great suit. Leo slammed his hand on the bar. It's a great suit, but it's not your suit. Do you remember us in college, wearing hoodies and sweats, sitting in front of our computers for days, coding those little indie games? Remember when we hit 10,000 downloads on that first one? Look at you now. When was the last time you even wrote a line of code? You're like a mannequin, man. Nothing about you is your own anymore. I stared at my reflection in the dark mirror behind the bar. The slick back hair, the perfectly pressed suit. Is it really that bad? I whispered. This is what a professional is supposed to look like, right? Leo actually scoffed. A professional? Dude, you've got the miserable energy of a 1950s housewife. The truth was I hated suits, but Chloe loved them. She loved that polished alpha male look. I remember when she first started her studio, back before we even graduated. Things were tight. The first time a major company agreed to a meeting, it was just her and Jason. She said she needed one more person for support, so I went with her. I wore what I thought was my most professional outfit, a crisp white button-down and black jeans. Then I saw Jason stride across the lobby, a drink in hand, completely at ease. He was wearing a navy suit almost identical to the one I had on tonight. He oozed a kind of confidence I'd never seen in someone our age. He navigated the schmoozing effortlessly, shielding Chloe from aggressive clients, helping her land the deal. And I just trailed behind him like a lost puppy. I figured I'd just wait until it was over and we could all leave together. But then Jason found an excuse to hand me his drink, asking me to run interference with a particularly pushy executive. Chloe didn't object. I figured helping him was the same as helping her, so I started taking drinks on her behalf. I got drunk, fast, and I think I made a scene when I saw Jason get a little too close to Chloe. The next morning, Chloe looked at me with cold disappointment. Jason and I had to spend an hour apologizing to everyone for your behavior, she said. And for the last time, it's just business between me and Jason. Stop being so sensitive. I was stunned. After that day, I never went back to her studio. I never went to another one of her networking events. I didn't want to lose control again. I didn't want to see her and Jason together. And most of all, I didn't want to hear her dismiss my feelings with that same flat, detached voice. It's just business. Stop being so sensitive. I didn't answer Leo, just kept ordering more drinks. He just stared at me, an intense look on his face that was starting to freak me out. Finally, he spoke, his voice low. I miss the old you, man. The guy who was actually himself. I'm still myself, I said automatically. Leo shook his head. No, the old you had dreams you were going somewhere. Now you don't have any dreams left. I shook my head back. That's not true. My biggest dream was to be with Chloe. Leo punched me lightly on the arm. Think again, idiot. The bar was dark, but I could see the guilt on his face. If I'd known you'd turn into this, he muttered, almost to himself, I never would have helped you get with her in the first place. The words were quiet, but I heard them loud and clear. He was right. I had worked hard to win Chloe over. She was the undisputed queen of our campus, stunning, top of her class. She was friendly to everyone, this warm, approachable goddess, but she never let anyone truly get close. Half the guys in our school were in love with her, not to mention guys from other colleges. None of them ever got a chance. Except me. And damn, did that make a lot of guys jealous. It's not like I was a nobody back then. I was the big deal in the comp sci department, and the indie games Leo and I were making were winning all sorts of awards. My professor said I was a natural, that I was born to do this. At first, I wasn't even interested in Chloe, a girl who was equally nice to everyone. Seemed like she was just playing games, fishing for attention. But then came the big university tech competition. I designed a game that got a surprising amount of buzz. After my presentation, a scout from some big corporation walked right up to me, a smirk on his face. We'll take the game, he said, his tone dripping with condescension. It's not like anyone else is going to buy it. Consider this a favor to your university. My professor, who was standing with me, looked incredibly uncomfortable. He clearly didn't want to cross this guy. I was about to tell him exactly where he could shove his offer, but before I could, Chloe stepped between us. She pulled the scout aside and spoke to him quietly. He glanced over at me, his expression souring, and then left without another word. I stared at Chloe, baffled. What did you say to him? She turned to me and smiled. I told him your game was already pre-sold to Vanguard Studios. He knows he can't compete with them, so he backed off. But it's not sold to anyone. Chloe's smile widened. I know, but I wasn't going to let some jerk bully you into giving away something so brilliant. That smile, It hit me right in the chest. She saw the value in my work. She stood up for me. Was she even the same person anymore? I turned back to the bar and saw Leo had passed out, head down on the sticky surface. Great. I had to lug his dead weight home. Getting him out of the Uber at his apartment complex was a workout. Drunk people weigh a ton. I was grunting, half carrying, half dragging him toward the entrance, my head down, when I slammed right into someone. Oh, sorry, my bad, I mumbled. But the person didn't move. I looked up confused. A woman with long, dark wavy hair and a stylish dress was looking at me with surprise. I knew it was you, Ethan. I stared at her, trying to place the face. She laughed. Wow. I changed my hairstyle and you don't even recognize me? She teased. A few of your award-winning projects wouldn't exist without my coding support, you know. It clicked. A slow grin spread across my face. Maya? Maya, Chun. Just Maya is fine. Just then, one of her friends draped an arm around her shoulder. You can introduce us? He's already on a first-name basis. Maya rolled her eyes good-naturedly and pointed at me. This is the guy I was telling you about. The genius game designer from college. Her friends all lit up. Oh, he's the one. Your #1 creative idol. Maya shot them a look before turning back to me. Don't mind them, they're idiots. I felt a flush of embarrassment and just waved my hand dismissively. My phone started buzzing violently in my pocket. It's almost dawn. Where the hell are you? Who's supposed to make breakfast? I could perfectly picture Chloe's annoyed expression. I'm on my way back, I said. Where are you? I'll come get you. For a split second, her voice sounded worried, or maybe I was imagining it. But I didn't want her to come. Don't worry about it. I hung up before she could argue. Maya said goodbye to her friends and then helped me wrestle Leo into his apartment. After we got him settled on the couch, Maya turned to me. Come on, it's 6 a.m. The diner downstairs is open. I'll buy you breakfast. I didn't say no. A few minutes later, we were sitting in a booth. So what's the story? She asked, her eyes bright with excitement. Did you start your own game company? Are you running your own studio? I looked at her eager face and didn't know what to say. She must have sensed my hesitation because she quickly changed the subject. You know what my friend said back there? She was right. You really were my idol in school. After graduation, I went abroad for my master's, met a ton of big names in the industry. Now I'm back, and I'm starting my own indie game studio here in Seattle. You should join me. With every word she spoke, her eyes seemed to get brighter. She pulled out her phone. I'm sending you the whole business plan. Read it over. If you get in now, you'd be a co-founder. Just then, a sharp voice cut through the air behind me. Ethan, so this is why you didn't want me to pick you up. What the hell is this? I turned to see Chloe standing there, her face a mask of cold fury. You'd better have a very good explanation. Maya looked from me to Chloe, completely confused. The next thing I knew, Chloe snatched a glass of water from the table and threw it at Maya. What are you doing? I yelled, jumping to my feet. Maya had dodged just in time, and the water splashed against the vinyl of the booth. I turned to her, my face burning with apology. She seemed to read the whole situation in a second and just gave me a small, reassuring smile. I looked back at Chloe. For the first time in a long time, she actually looked jealous. Maya was the first to speak, her voice calm. You must be Chloe, Ethan's fiancée. It's a misunderstanding. We were classmates in college, just catching up after running into each other. Chloe seemed to realize she'd made a scene and gave Maya a curt nod. Sorry about that. Maya continued smoothly. I just got back in the country, so it was a surprise to see a familiar face. Why don't you join us? Chloe slid into the booth without a word. I ordered another breakfast for her. We sat in thick silence until Maya broke it again. So, are you two married already? How come I didn't get an invitation to the wedding? Chloe stiffened, then reached over and grabbed my hand, pulling me to my feet. That's our business. It has nothing to do with you. She started dragging me toward the door. I looked back at Maya over my shoulder. I'll read what you sent. As the words left my mouth, I felt Chloe's grip on my hand tighten. When we got to her car, Chloe was about to let go of my hand, but then she froze, her grip tightening again. I followed her gaze and saw Maya walking out of the diner behind us. Chloe's voice was a low hiss. What is going on, Ethan? You both reek of alcohol, and now she's following you out here. Oh, I get it. You're cheating on me now, is that it? I was too tired to even argue. As Chloe tried to shove me into the passenger seat, Maya called out, Wait, Ethan, you left your phone on the table. I glanced at Chloe's stony face and took the phone from Maya. Thanks. Maya seemed to sense the tension. Really, Chloe, she said, trying to be reassuring. There's nothing going on between us. Chloe just stared at her coldly. Are you done? Ethan and I are going home. Ethan. She hadn't called me that in years. It was always just my name, flat and impersonal. She opened the car door for me, a gesture of performative care. As I sat down, my eyes landed on a men's watch sitting in the center console. It was Jason's. I'd seen him wear 100 times. Chloe must have seen me looking because her expression flickered. She started the car, her hands tight on the wheel. Jason left that in here by mistake the other day, she said, her voice too casual. Don't worry, I won't let him ride in my car anymore. It was the beginning of an explanation, an excuse, but I wasn't listening. I was looking out the window at the familiar storefronts flashing by. I spotted my favorite place for Cajun crawfish. We hadn't been in ages. Pull over here, I said. I need to grab something. Chloe slammed on the brakes, turning to glare at me. Were you even listening to a word I said? I got out of the car and gave her a small smile through the open window. It's fine. I don't care. I shut the door and walked toward the restaurant. When I came back out with a heavy, fragrant bag, her car was still there, idling in a no-parking zone. I hesitated for a second, then got back in. The first thing I noticed was that the watch was gone. But she didn't know. She didn't realize that I'm 6'4" and Jason is maybe 5'11". The passenger seat was still adjusted for him, not me. It didn't matter how much she tried to hide it. Some things, once they're changed, can never be changed back. Back at our apartment, I dumped the crawfish onto a platter. The spicy aroma filled the kitchen. As I sat down to eat, Chloe sat down across from me. I'll eat with you, she said. I didn't answer, just nodded. My phone started buzzing nonstop. A stream of messages. I glanced down. It was all from Maya. Chloe's expression soured. Can you please just eat dinner? She snapped. Your phone is so annoying. I ignored her. This was more important. I opened the file Maya had sent me. Her business plan. Her game concepts. As I scrolled, I felt a forgotten part of my brain light up. Her ideas were brilliant. The framework was solid. I was completely captivated. So captivated that I didn't even notice when Chloe got up and stormed out of the room. Another message from Maya came through. So what do you think? You in or out? Fair warning, once you're on this ride, there's no getting off. And don't worry, it's just the two of us. Equal partners. 50-50 split. Without a moment of hesitation, I typed back my reply. I'm in. Let's do this. I didn't need to think about it. For the first time in years, I felt a surge of pure, unadulterated excitement. I knew what my purpose was again. For years, my goal was to marry Chloe. That goal had just changed. I found something that mattered more. After that day, my life completely changed. I was busy, working from early in the morning until late at night. Suddenly, Chloe started coming home more often. Sometimes I'd wake up, and she would have already made breakfast. I never ate it. One night, I came home to find her waiting for me on the couch. I'm dissolving the partnership with Jason, she announced as I walked in. We're splitting the studio. We'll each run our own separate firms from now on. I won't have any contact with him anymore. I looked at her, surprised. You don't have to do that, I said. Splitting a studio that's successful will kill your momentum. Besides, you and Jason work well together. Ethan, what is wrong with you? She said, her voice rising. This is what you wanted, isn't it? You should be happy. I just shook my head. Honestly, I don't care. I'm exhausted, I said, turning toward the bedroom. I'm going to bed. The crazy thing was, she could have identified the problem between us at any time. But she waited until now, until it was too late, to finally try and solve it. For years, she just blamed me, telling me I was childish and insecure. I'd gotten so used to it. I'd almost started to believe it was true. But now I saw it clearly. She knew what the problem was all along. She just didn't care enough to fix it. The next morning, I was at the news studio office early. I showed Maya some of the concepts I've been working on, and she stared at them, her eyes wide. See, this is what I was talking about, she said, pointing to my screen. Even after all these years, you've still got it. Your instincts are incredible. If you had started doing this right after college, you'd be a legend in the industry by now. I just smiled. What she didn't know was that on my first day, I'd stared at the software and felt a wave of panic. So much had changed. I was so far behind. I'd spent that first week secretly calling Leo, who spent hours getting me back up to speed. That night, I had dinner with Leo. He looked at me across the table and said, "I finally see that light back in your eyes, man. This is the real you." After a month of sleepless nights and nonstop work, Maya and I finished the design for our first game. We decided we needed to celebrate. I realized it had been weeks since I'd even seen Chloe. I'd heard through the grapevine that things at her studio were a mess after the split. Maya and I planned a day trip, a picnic somewhere out of the city to clear our heads. The same day, Chloe called and asked me to dinner. I told her I couldn't. The old me would have dropped everything in a heartbeat, overjoyed that she was paying attention to me again. But that wasn't me anymore. I had my own life now. I had a few beers during our picnic and got home late. The apartment was different. It felt staged. I flipped on a light. There were flowers on the dining table. As I got closer, I saw a small velvet box. Inside were 2 wedding rings. I looked up, and there was Chloe walking down the stairs in a white wedding dress. My first instinct was to take a step back. She looked at me, her eyes filled with a desperate sincerity. "Ethan, will you marry me?" I let out a long, slow breath and shook my head. "Chloe, you know it's over. I haven't seen you in days. I should have said this to your face sooner, but I've been so busy. We need to break up." Panic flared in her eyes. She rushed toward me. "Is it because of Maya? Are you in love with her? You don't want to marry me because you want to be with her, don't you?" I frowned. "Don't be ridiculous, Chloe. Don't drag other people into this. This is about us. And we're finished. That's it. I'm letting you go. I won't bother you again." I turned and walked out the door without looking back. The scene in that room, the dress, the rings, it was everything I had ever dreamed of for years. But standing there, seeing it all in person, I felt absolutely nothing. I never went back to that apartment. I didn't even bother to get my things. There was nothing there that was really mine anyway. A year later, our game launched. Within the first week, we had over 10,000 active players online. Maya and I were about to head out to celebrate when I saw her, waiting at the entrance of my new apartment building. Chloe. She looked thinner. The moment Maya saw her, she gave my arm a quick squeeze. I'll meet you at the bar." She gave me space. Chloe watched me approach. "Ethan," she said, her voice quiet. "Do you still have feelings for me?" I thought about it for a second, then nodded. "Of course. We were together for a long time. You don't just turn something like that off." Hearing that, a flicker of hope crossed her face. She stepped forward and grabbed my arm. "Then can we get back together?" I gently pulled my arm away. "No. I may still have feelings for you, Chloe, but that doesn't mean I want to be with you." "Why?" Her expression was one of genuine confusion. "I cut ties with Jason. I successfully split the studio. Everything you wanted, I did it. You want to design games? I'll support you. I'll invest in your company. Whatever you think is wrong with me, I can change it." Everything she was offering sounded perfect, but I didn't need it anymore. I looked at her, my voice even. "Chloe, when I needed all of that, where were you?" "I don't need it now." She just stood there, blocking my path. I sighed, a wave of exhaustion passing over me. "Don't do this, Chloe. Let's just move on. It's the best thing for both of us."